Yeah, welcome to my YouTube channel, Wealth Concept. In today's edition of Wealth Concept, I'm going to teach you the basic techniques on how money flows in and how money flows out of your pocket that you are yet to acknowledge that is keeping you poor and poorer today. In today's edition of Wealth Concept, let's talk about asset and liability. That's the topic of the day. I believe at the end of this particular section or lecture that you are going to have a rethink based on how you spend your money on some of the things that you don't even want or that you don't need, because there are difference between needs and wants. Even the needs, before you go into buying things, spending your money on things, you need to, you know, apply the law of what? Economics, which is the scale of preference and opportunity cost. You first of all compare the two things that you need. These two things are what should be a bone of contention. What are the major things, you know, the one that I needed most at this moment. Have you seen it? So that's how people go about spending their cash on things that they don't even need, on things that they can't even afford, or things that they can't even afford to maintain. Have you seen it? So let's talk about asset. An asset is something that brings in more money into your pocket. For example, stock, real estate, businesses. Have you seen it? These are the assets. While liability or liabilities is something that goes in contrast, is something drags in that drags out money off your pocket. Have you seen it? Asset is the one that puts in, while liability or liabilities, as the case may be, is something that takes more money even off your pocket. These are what? The liabilities. What do I mean by liability? A typical of example of liability is, maybe you are working in a particular firm now, maybe you are working in a Dangote firm, or you are working in a Tesla, or you are working as a staff in Amazon. Have you seen it? At the end of the month, you got a paycheck of, let's say, $30,000 or $50,000 as your monthly salary or wages. Have you seen it? A lot of people go about buying home. Have you seen it? Instead of thinking the other way around. Okay, should I go into real estate, buying a home that I will lease out in order to make more money? Have you seen it? A home that I'll put out on a rent, and other people will come, I will lease the house or the apartment to them. Have you seen it? They will pay me money, dollars, some $300, some $500, some $1,500 as what? As monthly income. Have you seen it? That's a dividend that comes out from the asset you bought before now. That is a home you bought and you placed it on a lease. Have you seen it? So now, the second thing is, people go about, buying cars, spending their money on Gucci, on Louis Vuittons, etc. People goes about, these are the typical examples of what liabilities, buying a home for yourself and your family. Number two, acquiring luxury cars. Number three, buying Gucci clothes or Louis Vuitton or any other product. By doing so, you are making the CEO of Gucci company. You are making the CEO of Louis Vuitton's company. You are making the CEO of Versace company. You are making the CEO of Lamborghini company. You are making them wealthier because you spend the money that you don't have. Have you seen it? Take for instance, let's take a car for instance now as an example. Okay, you are working in a firm and your monthly pay is, let's say, $5,000, and there are a lot of cars that maybe you can get at a barest minimum. Have you seen it? Like, let's say you can get a car of $1,500. Have you seen it? And you are earning five to $10,000 as your monthly income or your monthly earning, as the case may be. Now, at the end of the month, you are paid $20,000 as your monthly salary or monthly wages. You went ahead, out of this $20,000, you spent, let's say, $15,000. Have you seen it? On a car, you use $15,000 on a car, you use the purchase a car in order to look rich, in order to look wealthy. Have you seen it? For people to, in order to impress people, in order for some people to be oppressed, because the way you live your life is either you impress people or you oppress people. It's still the same thing, vice versa. Have you seen it? So you purchased a car or you bought a car from, let's say, a particular company, let's say from Ford company. Have you seen it? Auto company. You purchase a car from them. At the end of the month, you are going home with just $5,000 from the $20,000 paycheck that you received. Have you seen it? Now you spend already spent $15,000 that you don't have on on car. Now that very car, you will be changing the oil, you'll be maintaining it. Apart from changing the oil, there are other things. The car might got knocked, recently the engine, anything may happen to the car. That's why we call it a liability, because it takes the one that you've already kept somewhere off your pocket. Have you seen it? By the time the car got damaged or the car crashed, what do you need to do? You have to go and fix the car. You take it to automobile mechanic workshop. Have you seen it? For them to get the car fixed. By so doing, you will spend more money out of the money you don't have. You are spending more money on getting the motor spare parts. Have you seen it? In order to replace the damaged one. Have you seen it? These are one of the ways of what? Getting yourself poor or poorer, running your own pocket down. Have you seen it? Another one is spending more money in order to do, wow, I put on Louis Vuitton, or I bought Gucci. By looking at yourself, be like, hey, you want people to be like, okay, this guy is a very, yeah, guy is a very, he's very huge, he's rich, look at the kind of cloth, the worth of this cloth. All these things are liability. The cloth you bought from Gucci company, fashion company, any cloth you bought from there, immediately you left that very place or the boutique, the price of that particular cloth devalues, the worth, it devalues. Have you seen it? It devalues. It's no longer an asset. It's an asset to people that owns the cloth, that produce the cloth. Have you seen it? That very time you came to buy it, you exchange it with few dollars. Have you seen it? Some $2,000, $3,000 worth of a cloth. Have you seen it? By the time you spend your $2,000 that you don't even have on that very cloth, it's a way of getting yourself poor or poorer. Meanwhile, making the Gucci company or Louis Vuitton's company, making them even more richer, wealthier. That's why there's this saying that the rich getting richer while the poor gets what? Poorer. It all starts with what? Mindset. For someone to be rich, for you to be rich today, it starts with the way you reason, the way you understand the law of money. If the moment you understand how money works, have you seen it? Then you will be left with no other choice than to make the money in order to place a particular distance for yourself so that the money will be working for you. You use the little money you have, place it in a place that the money will be working for you. Even while asleep, the money will be working for you. For example, there are a lot of things that you put your money today that it will be It will be on a safe ground. You understand? It will go ahead to work for you, bring more earnings, more income, instead of the money to be going down, the thing will be growing. Have you seen it? There's one mistake I wouldn't want you to do. Number one, a lot of I came to realize that in Africa, a lot of people prefer saving their money in bank account. Have you seen it? Getting a bank account, savings account for themselves, they go about saving. You see someone come out, the person will bragging, hey, I have some 20,000 naira, I have some 20,000 rands, I have some $800, I have some $1,500 in a bank account, local bank account. Have you seen it? Even in America, even in Europe, about 75% of the world population live their life, make they end up making the banking sector more rich or wealthier. Have you seen it? The banking sector, they get more wealthier. Let me show you something. For example, now you have like $200,000 in your savings account in your local bank, maybe JP Morgan, maybe in Zenith Bank in Nigeria, in Afribank. Have you seen it? Or any other bank around the world, you have like $200,000 or £200,000 in your bank account, savings account. You get to know that number one, the bank they will be charging you every month for service maintenance. You know, you will have some credit card or some debit card. Every month the bank will charge you for card maintenance. In Nigeria, a lot of banks will charge you 100 naira. A lot of banks, some of them will charge you 80 naira. Some of them will go ahead as high as charging you 150, 200 naira. Have you seen it? You get to notice that in every day, as day progresses, your money will be going down. Instead of appreciating, it will be doing what? Depreciating instead. Have you seen it? So I came to realize that before now, I used to put my money on my eggs in one basket, which is bank savings account. But I began to think, began to ask myself, the banking sector, how come, the banking sector is getting richer every day? How come? I came to realize that that very money that you don't want to invest, you left it idle, sitting idle in your bank account, that a lot of people, the bank officials, they will get that your money, that your $200,000, that your 200,000 naira, that your 200,000 rands, that your 200,000 pounds. They will get the money. They will loan it out because leaving the money in their own custody is a kind of liability to them. Have you seen it? It's never an asset. In order for them to make more profit from that, the money that you deposited there, what do they do? They go about getting the business owners, businessmen, businesswomen, people that are into business, they get them convinced, get them to loan the money to them. Have you seen it? In order for them to use it for a turn up. Have you seen it? To recycle their business, to elevate their business in order for them to bring what to come back with what? To come back and pay that very amount, that's your 200,000 naira or $200,000 to pay back with huge interest. That's how banking sector made their money. Have you seen it? They make their money. Some of them go about using your money, investing in some other companies, buying assets that you don't want to buy. You kept your money in the bank savings account. They are using that same money. They will create, if you put, like, let's say you put $200,000, the out of that $200,000, you notice that each time you check your bank, your balance in your bank, maybe via your bank app, you will see that you still have that figure: $200,000, 200,000 naira, 200,000 pounds, 200,000 rands, as the case may be. Now, but you ask yourself, how come, whenever I want to withdraw my money, the ATM machine, will bring, like, let's say, whatever amount I want to withdraw. And the balance will be shown that, okay, out of $200,000 that I have in my bank account, now your balance, that you withdrawed, that you are debited $20,000. You have your balance as what? As $180,000. Have you seen it? That's what we call Credit. When you deposit money, the bank they go about creating more money. Have you seen it? With that your money, you see in the figure, they will use that your money, that your $200,000, they will create another 180 or $190,000. Have you seen it? They will credit, they will loan the money out. That's why whenever you want to withdraw, you see money, some money to withdraw. Have you seen it? Even if you want to withdraw the $200,000, you will see the money. The ATM machine will spread it out for you to do what? For you to cash it out. So now they go about using your money, to buy assets, to lend to business owners, to acquire more wealth. Have you seen it? That's how banking sector works. These are the truth that they wouldn't allow you to know. Have you seen it? Because the moment the world population, get to know, get to be a kind of financially aware, then that will see the end of bank or banking sector world over. Have you seen it? So let me show you some of the things or the investments, the area. I'm not putting you in a this thing that you should buy assets or you should do this or you should do that. No, but I'm just showing you the things you ought to have done before now that would have, elevate your earning in terms of or your net worth. Have you seen it? Because some people have $5,000 last year today. The $5,000 has decreased from 5,000 instead of increasing to $6,000. The thing has decreased from the $5,000 down to $3,000, $2,000. Some people are even going through bankrupt now because there's no more money to spend. Have you seen it? So you don't spend your money in order to look good, for people to see you, for them to say that, yeah, this guy, you're a big guy, you bought a Lamborghini, you bought Ferrari, you bought Louis Vuitton. No, you don't do that. It's a way of keeping yourself, you know, in a poverty zone. You know, as we are now, we make more money. We make money every day. But the hardest thing in life is not to make money. The hardest thing in life is to keep the money, you know, floating, to keep the money afloat. That's, to keep the money in a safe zone, in a place that the money will increase as the day progresses. Some people never sit down for once and ask themselves, or straight up your eyes, to watch the future. Have you seen it? That's why a lot of our parents today they struggle, as they get older, they fail to, to do things, to make things easier for themselves. Time ago, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Have you seen it? They go about buying clothes, looking good, doing this, all these sort of things, that kept them in a poor zone today. Today they're retired. We have a lot of retirees in our world today. They are struggling. Listen to me and listen good. You can never be rich by saving your money in a bank account alone. Let me say again, you can never be wealthy by saving your money alone. Let me show you what to do. You are working and you are making some money, little money now as a kind of a middle class, even the ones, the poor ones, you make money on a daily basis, monthly basis, yearly basis. Let me ask you, how much are you saving? Out of the savings, how much have you been able to invest? If you are into investing, let's use someone like the world greatest investor of all time, Sir Warren Buffett. He's an American. He worth about $76 billion today. He started investing his money at the age of 12. Have you seen it? A lot of us, at this stage, if I had known what I knew now before, now, by now, I would have bought multi millions of dollars, a multi-million dollar. Have you seen it? Bet it's not too late yet. So if you are thinking, if you are watching this particular video now, don't even think that it's too late. You are up to 40, you are above 40, you are 50. No, it's never late. As long as life is concerned, it's never late to do what? To start investing today, to start saving and also invest. You don't save for saving sake, you save to invest. That's the only way you can be financially, buoyant, financially free around the world. But by so doing, you have other tutors, on YouTube. If you don't like my own teaching, you may get another teachers, anywhere. There are a lot of things. These are the things that your teacher won't teach you in school because even he or she was not taught that in school. Why? Because it's not included in what? In academic curriculum. Have you seen it? So they only taught you in school how to be a good employee, how to, get a certificate, you get a job, you work. Because before now, I was told some years ago when I was in basics, when I was in secondary school or high school, that for me to be rich, for me to be wealthy, I must go to school. I must, be a graduate. I must, graduate as, let's say, first class or second class honor. But I came to realize of recent that some of these, multi-billion, billionaires in the world today, they are not. Some of them are not even that educated. Some of them, got back to school in their late 40s, 50s, 60s. Isn't it? We are not saying that education is good. It's good to be enlightened in terms of, okay, this, to read, to write, to be more exposed. But what am I saying, or what am I trying to say here? You know, for you to make it in life, you must not necessarily be a graduate, either high school graduate, either a university graduate or college graduate. Have you seen it? You must not back in BSc, BA in various courses. No, you have to, if you want to be rich, if you want to be wealthy, if you want to be healthy, it starts here. It's your mindset, the way you think, the way you understand the law of money, the way you understand how money works, the way you understand, you know, by the time you start following the footsteps of those that have made it before now, when you do the same thing they did in the past, you will start getting the same result. Have you seen it? So, what are the areas you should be channeling your money that tomorrow you will come back and thank me or thank any other teacher or tutor? Number one, there's what we call stock. You know, some of you, this might be your first time of hearing of stock, or you must have, heard it before now, but you got confused. Stock. Who do people have heard? People even I read it in newspaper. I've seen it in television. We talk about stock market. We talk about this. I talk about that. Look, people like Warren Buffett. What made them wealthier today is stock market. They invest their money in stock market and they allow it to grow, to mature. So, as an investor or as an individual who wants to go into stock world or stock sector, what you need to do, you need to have that long-term mindset. That's the only way you can make it. And by so doing, for you to have a kind of long-term long-term acumen, for you to see things ahead, for you to start investing today ahead of future, ahead of time, what do you need to do? You need to set up different accounts. You set up an account that will meant for your investment. You set up the second one, which will take care of your needs, your basic needs and wants. You set up another one for emergency. Should be in case if you fare ill, if you lose your job, if anything happens to any of your family member, you will dip in hand into that emergency fund and bring and sort some money out in order to sort that particular problem out. Have you seen it? Then, if you want to go on a vacation, you will have maybe you want to travel down to your hometown, you want to get a kind of 2 weeks leave, something like that. All these things you need money to do that, to do those things. What you need to do is dip into that very fund meant for your fund base, or fund purpose. You dip in there into that very account and not your emergency fund. You dip in your money there, you take some dollars or some naira or some rands, some pounds, you can travel to whatever place you or destination you plan to be, as the case may be. Then the other account, which is your investment account, is a kind of untouchable account. Even other ones, they're untouchable. You don't go about spending because you want to get a cloth for yourself. You go, you dip into your emergency fund and put some money there, in order to purchase a pair of suit, a pair of a suit or a pair of shoe. Have you seen it? So you don't do that. By so doing, you are trying to to run things down for yourself. Then coming to this particular one, which is your investment account. You should, if you are working in a firm that maybe you see money on a daily basis, you should be mapping out, or you map out a particular amount of money. You set up a target for yourself, you make budgets. Uh, these are the things I need to be doing, by this social day, in every week or in a month end, that I'm going to put, let's say, 10% of my monthly income. I'm going to deposit it into my investment account, 20% into my emergency account, and the other account, I'm going to deposit the rest. Then I'm going to hold this little one for my feeding. Have you seen it? So these are the things you plan well, you make a budget, you plan the way you live your life, the things you eat on a daily basis, on a monthly. That's how you will know how much you spend on food, how much you spend, when you don't plan your things, you get to spoil things for yourself, you get to drag things down for yourself. Have you seen it? You get to make things even more complicating for yourself. So now let's talk about stock. We have some stock, different companies, like for example, take Tesla, Amazon. These are the companies owned by American individuals. Have you seen it? So they are not Nigerian firm. Have you seen it? But as the world is going, today you can be in any part of the world and purchase an American firm. Have you seen it? So you can buy stock like Amazon stock, you can buy a Tesla stock, name it. All these dividend stock, you can purchase them. The next thing is real estate. You can as well go into real estate by maybe, going into buying a particular stock from a particular real estate company. Have you seen it? you know, ETFs, some stuff like that. You know, from by so doing, you have your people working for your money working for you. People living in an apartment that you don't even know. Have you seen it? But you have an apartment somewhere. Those companies, they use it to invest. They use it to buy estate. Have you seen it? That they lease out to people. They pay out tax. In other things, they pay you dividends at the end of the day. Then the next thing is business. When you go into stock world first, then real estate, then you can as well venture into business or businesses. These are the ways, a way of what, building yourself for the future ahead. Have you seen it? So I think by now you must have been enlightened, in terms of business wise, stock world, you know, economic wise. you know by the time you start getting things right today, you save more money, you invest more money, things will start falling back to shape. Please kindly watch, click like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, watch my video, and click on button so that you get to know when I posted new videos and other things.